Hey, what's going on? My name is Dr. Ben. I'm a chiropractor. And today I have my good friend, Dr. Sura, chiropractor, practicing out in New Jersey with me. Sura, thank you so much for taking the time to share with these prospective students that may or may not know about chiropractic. They may be planning on go to chiropractic school and preparing themselves for it, or they may just be checking out chiropractic and really just looking at what the field has to offer them. So can we get started with you introducing yourself and your background, what you were doing before chiropractic school, and what attracted you to go to chiropractic school?
Sure. Well, I went to school for marketing, and it was kind of like I just didn't know what to do. Like I knew I had a calling, but I hadn't figured it out yet. And when I graduated, I met a man. He was the general sales manager at a big network television station. And he basically mapped out my career. He said, I'm going to help you get into an advertising agency. In a year, I want you to sell nationally, go into their sales training program, and 2 years later, work locally. And those are the steps to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
So I followed that exactly. And by the time I was 27, I had reached that point in that income I wanted to make and that spot that I was working towards. And I was really unhappy. And I was having a lot of symptoms. And there's a quote by Joseph Campbell, which I found later, that said, you know, if your path is mapped out perfectly, that's not your path. Your path is discovered step by step. So all that pain I started looking for holistic things to help me. And it wasn't until my mid-20s that I discovered chiropractic. And I really had an experience on the table where something opened up in my body and something really like connected. And I just felt something in my heart open, and I knew I wanted to be a chiropractor.
Wow. So you didn't grow up with chiropractic. It was something that you found in your mid-20s, and you were already in a career and you were changing careers. What was that like? What was that transition process mentally like, of starting to imagine what it would be like if you took this career path? You know, you were already going one direction.
Well, in advertising sales, they call it the golden handcuffs. Because you're making a really good salary, but it traps you, you know? So I got used to a certain lifestyle. So to think of letting all of that go and being a broke student again was like so terrifying. But the thing is, and this is something my chiropractor told me, because I was in a lot of physical pain, emotional pain, mental pain. And he said, Sir, when you're not doing what you're supposed to do, it hurts. It's supposed to hurt. So the pain got so much until I had no choice but to say yes to the path that was calling me and that was true for me, which is chiropractic.
Wow. So you had gone through the process of receiving chiropractic care for a decent chunk of time before you decided you wanted to become a chiropractor, right?
Yeah. Well, on my first visit with my chiropractor, he told me right away, he knew I wasn't happy in my career. And he said, you know, we need more good people doing this work. But I had so many beliefs from my family of what success looks like, you know, and New York City and the culture and everything. I had layers of programming. So even though my heart might have said yes, it was so dimmed and so covered up, you know, and it wasn't until I started getting adjusted that all this programming, all this stuff that wasn't me started to become clear, and I could really hear my inner voice and discover my true path.
And I'm glad you listened to that inner voice. Yes. So can you talk about what that transition was like, going into chiropractic school? Some surprises, some challenges. I know it's not an easy path. I was there as well. Can you talk a little bit to the prospective student or somebody considering going to chiropractic school, just kind of what your experience was like?
Yeah. Well, once I decided to go, the hardest part was making the decision to go to chiropractic school. But once I got to chiropractic school, like a lot of me loved it. because suddenly I was in a community of like-minded people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was like, oh my God, I thought all this time I was a weirdo by myself. I'm like, these people are weird too, you know? So
Uh-huh.
I loved that. I loved my soul family, you know, and you're part of it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I loved learning about healing, and I loved a lot of the things I did outside of school, like the seminars and, you know, learning from amazing chiropractors in the area.
Mm-hmm.
But school itself, the actual medical science part, to me was like, you know, it felt like a hoop to jump through. Like I was like, why am I learning this? It feels like it's taking me away from the part of chiropractic that I really loved.
Mm-hmm.
And also I hadn't been in school for a long time. So it was like hard for me to memorize things.
Mm-hmm.
And I've never been in such a challenging program where I really had to go, what's my learning style?
Mm-hmm.
And I discovered I'm a visual learner.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to draw everything.
Uh-huh.
The hours. And, you know, some people were straight out of school, so their brains were still really, really fast. But the cool thing is, you know, towards the end of the program, all of our brains are so sharp. You know, it's like a muscle that gets exercised. And but at first, you know, I was like, I haven't studied in so long, but you know, it's all part of it. And when I look back on school, I have really like beautiful, powerful memories.
Mm-hmm. So before school, you were really deeply immersed and exposed to network chiropractic.
Yeah.
Can you speak about how that helped you through school, but also some of the things that you gravitated towards naturally as a student within the context of chiropractic?
Mm-hmm. Well, what I love about network is that they're teaching, you know, it wasn't just about the physical part of chiropractic. You know, they weren't just addressing the body. They were addressing how you go through seasons of healing through discover, transformation, and awakening. And so that's what, you know, I wanted to heal my life. I didn't just want to heal my body.
Mm-hmm.
And I really wanted to I felt like I wanted to be free and in my power. And, you know, so network spoke to all those parts and serving the community. And it also exposed me to like touch and how much can be done with like very little.
Mm-hmm.
It introduced me to the importance of breath,
Mm-hmm.
the adjustment, and the phases of healing. So when I went into, and also obviously dealing with the meningeal component of, you know,
what is that? Because most students have never heard of the meningeal component. Can you just describe that to the prospective student a little bit?
Sure. Well, like how I see the body is that, you know, these patterns that are seeking alignment,
Mm-hmm.
they can be in different parts of the body. They can be in the actual bone, you know, and how I would address that is through a physical adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
It could be in the soft tissue, you know, and that could be like releasing a ligament or working a muscle. Mm-hmm. Or it could be in the energetic where it's a touch way out here.
Uh-huh.
We're dealing with the meninges of the spine, you know, and it's just different parts of the body, and you can address the whole system through each one, which is so beautiful and powerful. But for me, I believe I found network first because I needed to address that. That was the doorway. That was the best way for me to receive healing at that time.
Mm-hmm. Amazing, amazing. So transitioning out of school, can you talk a little bit about that process? It was obviously you came out of school, you were inspired. I saw how much work you put in to developing yourself into a professional. But can you talk a little bit about maybe the challenges that you experienced, but also like the opportunities that were out there, and what your experience was like transitioning into the real world after chiropractic school?
Yeah. Well, the thing with chiropractic is that, you know, part of the gift that we're giving people is to really be clear, you know, and to be really aligned to their true self. So the system on the world right now, if you're looking at it, like everything's about money is the bottom line, you know? And that's why like all these crazy things make sense. That's why, going to war makes sense because it makes a lot of money. That's why giving medical treatments that, someone doesn't need makes sense because it makes a lot of money. That's why putting poisons in food, makes sense because it makes money. So there's so much. So for me coming out, I really had to, get away from that system of what society was telling me. It's just about the money. It's just about the money, and that's successes, and continue to like clear that and evolve that within myself so I could really serve. So I could really serve my community and uplift my community. And of course, from that comes money and the lifestyle you want, but it's like a different type of being. So I had to really learn that. And it was, I mean, I don't know what to say. It was an experience, and I'm still learning it. I'm still here doing my best to really be clear to serve.
Yeah. If I'm a student in high school or college and I'm really enjoying the message that you're sharing and learning so much about what you went through personally, what would you say to me? Some questions I should be asking of myself. Where should my heart really be? If I shouldn't be going for the money because I've heard chiropractors make a lot of money, what should be some questions I ask of myself? How can I really get clear within that chiropractic is the path for me?
That's a good question. Well, I would say that asking yourself, what's going to help me be the most in touch with who I really am. So I would be getting adjusted regularly for me. And then from that, I think the more clear you are from getting adjusted, it's like kind of like, you start hearing your body more. You start hearing your inner voice more that tells you, I need to meditate today. I need to go on a hike today. Wow, I really need to eat a lot of spinach today, and you start, or you're faced with a pattern, and and you're like, oh, that actually, I keep repeating that. I don't want to do that anymore, and these things. So what would help you? That's a question to ask yourself, and finding that answer within, and whatever practices support that.
What if you were speaking to someone who practices yoga regularly or has a meditation practice? Maybe they're a yoga teacher or a meditation teacher. How can chiropractic really build on top of what they've been dedicating their life to? And how could becoming a chiropractor be perceived as the potential next step in evolving themselves?
Well, I don't think it matters what you are, a yoga teacher or meditation teacher. It's a calling. It found me in advertising. Do you know what I mean? So, even now, but I understand what you were saying. You were saying they're already doing the work to be clear. How could it be, I mean, that's a calling that comes from within. So, I think they do different things. And like, even though I get adjusted regularly, I do meditate. I do practice yoga. I do eat well. I do my best to have healthy thoughts. And so I don't know if I think people are introduced to different things at different times when it will help them the most. And everyone's path is so unique and beautiful. So
beautiful. So as a practicing chiropractor today, how would you describe the way that you engage with people in your practice? Can you take us into your life as a chiropractor? Maybe talk a little bit about your lifestyle, how your schedule is set up, how you take care of yourself, but also how you take care of others.
Well, how I engage. Well, I have to tell you, I had to let go of a lot of the medical way to take care of people because I am not a medical doctor, and so I do my best to meet people where they are. And I don't think it's an accident that anybody gets sent to you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I do my best to make sure that they feel safe, that it's a safe place, and that they feel seen and heard and respected.
Mm-hmm.
and I leave it up to them. If I know that if this is something they want in their life, they will choose this. I don't have to push it down their throat.
Yeah.
I'm here for them,
Mm-hmm.
And I really do believe that individual working with one person at a time, one family at a time, it begins to uplift your community. And as far as taking care of myself regularly, I mean, I get adjusted almost every day. I really do. I know. This is the benefits of being with a chiropractor.
Mm-hmm. And that could sound really interesting to somebody. Why would you get adjusted every day? Like, can you get over adjusted? Maybe some people would just wonder why would you want to get adjusted? Not every day, but just very frequently. You said your partner's a chiropractor, so that obviously really helps. It's right there in your house. But to a student who's really just unfamiliar with chiropractic, why would somebody get adjusted on a regular basis and not just for a specific stress or a specific ailment that they have?
Mhm. Well, I see it as it's like, some people meditate every day, and some people practice yoga every day, and some people juice every day. But chiropractic to me is my foundation beyond all of that, about being clear on the inside and connected to this harmonious intelligence in the universe, but that it's also in me. So what happens, I mean, every day I'm in a city, I'm in Manhattan, I'm in Jersey City. I'm like dealing with a lot of stress that's in the environment. I'm dealing with the cell phone stress. That's one part. The
Mm-hmm.
energy from all the people, we're all dealing with the collective stress right now, and then it's not just stress. It's not that I just want to get rid of stress, but it's just like I continue on to evolve and grow.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, that's my daily practice, my daily time to grow.
Mm-hmm. What are some books or what are some spiritual texts that have really helped you grow throughout the years?
Well, I love Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life, because she straight up goes into how your thoughts really can affect your body. And I love that book. I wish I thought of this before, but she just comes to mind. It was her birthday yesterday, so I was listening to some of her stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I really did love Christiane Northrup, Women's Bodies, because she's a medical doctor, but she addressed the holistic. So I feel like when you talk medical, it's like people, like it's very accepted by the society, but when you actually introduce this other dimension of it's actually affecting, this is about your life. It's not just about your organ or your muscle. Yeah. Who else? I don't know. There's probably so
That's
many.
great. Yeah, no, that's great. I think that at the end of the day, you've provided a lot of insight for sort of like what's in your heart for humanity and how you show up as a chiropractor. And just to continue the conversation, I'd really like you to sort of just share what your vision for yourself is as this process of life unfolds for you. You've only been in practice, 5 or 10 years? So what does the next 10, 20, 30 years look like? Do you plan to continue to practice? Are you really happy with the path that you're on? Like, we're just speaking to people that are trying to look at a decision that could potentially impact the next 20 to 60 years of their lives.
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, serving is happiness. Like, like I get messages all the time from babies being born and mothers thanking me, or people just writing really heartfelt messages of how their lives have changed. So that never goes over my head. Like I receive that. Like I just am like, Like, I feel really honored that these people trusted me with care, you know? And that really, I mean, it doesn't get old for me. It's really beautiful work, you know? So if your heart is asking you to serve, you know, because at first when I was deciding to be a chiropractor, you know, I did say it came from my heart. I had an experience on the table, but before that, I was getting the call. I just couldn't hear it. But I started asking myself, what do I know that I want? And I knew I wanted to serve. I knew I wanted to help people live a happier and healthier life. I knew I didn't want a boss. I didn't really like having bosses. I knew I didn't want to have a boss. I knew I didn't want to struggle financially, you know, because maybe some people want to serve and they want to do humanitarian work or social work or other things. I knew I want to make this much or this a year. I knew I wanted to have a beautiful office space. I knew I wanted to, I started making a list of what do I want, you know, what would make me happy. But even though the elephant in the room, chiropractic, was right there, you know, I couldn't look at it yet for some reason. So I would invite people just to make a list of, like, you know, life has presented you with opportunity to know what you don't want. So write the opposite. If you have a lot of annoying bosses, maybe you don't want a boss, you know? You know, or, you know, people that do well in finance, they're motivated by making money, you know? Like that's their top motivation. Same thing in sales in the world I was in, that's their top, you know? And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there isn't a beautiful intelligence in money and having a wonderful lifestyle. But I'm saying if your top with chiropractic is that service, you know, and what change can I make in my community and ultimately the world.
And we need that so badly today. With people in our communities are looking for answers. They're searching outside of themselves when the answers are within a lot of the times, but they don't ever get that message from outside that says, just look within, unless they're in the church, unless they're in their spiritual communities. And as chiropractors, we have the opportunity to really serve people at such a deep level that they were looking for it and they just didn't know that it existed. So that's what we're really doing here with Pre-Chiro, is trying to share with you, the prospective student, hey, this profession is much deeper than you may have thought, and it provides you with a really profound gift to serve people at a deep level. So, Sura, thank you so much for sharing. Can you just share a little bit about where people can connect with you, and also what's inspiring you today, right here, right now, and what type of chiropractic communities do you engage with, and just kind of like what's going on for you right now as a chiropractor?
Okay, well, what's going on? Well, you know, I was solely practicing in Manhattan, and because of COVID, it hit the city so hard, it actually gave me an opportunity to, you know, I knew I had to rebuild. So I chose to be closer to home in Jersey City, and I still see people in Manhattan too. So I'm like, I never even thought I'd have 2 locations or 2 practices. I'm like, how did this happen? You know, so I am, so that's what's going on. And one, I really do want to thank you, Ben, because I wonder if someone had introduced me to chiropractic before, if I would have had to go through all of that, you know? Like, I didn't even know it existed. I didn't know it was an option, you know? So I don't think anybody is doing this work you're doing, and it's so powerful. And we need people sooner than later. So I think it's great. I don't want to say we need, but you know what I mean.
There's a strong need right now. There's a need for sustainable healthcare. We're only using our hands, our hearts, and connecting with people without destroying our environment in the process. So all over the world, chiropractic is needed. So I'm pushing back on that. We do need more people. We need people from diverse backgrounds.
Yeah, the Pasquale Sarasoli, who's one of my mentors, And he started a philosophy group called the Self Center. And that's we're a group of chiropractors. We meet monthly in Brooklyn in his old house. And, you know, what he said, I mean, he had such vision. What he said was that this paradigm, all these structures that they can't sustain, you know, they're not aligned to the true north, to who we really are, you know, to love being the bottom line. And he said they have to collapse, and a new world is going to be born. And that new world will not be born unless without chiropractic. Mm-hmm. So that's how important this work is. And it is happening before our eyes, you know. Mm-hmm. It's very painful right now because we're watching the old die, you know, mm-hmm. and we're watching the land burn and the craziness and the lies, you know. But it is darkest before the dawn, and the new world is being born. And thanks to all the chiropractors around the world, you know, doing this amazing work. Mm-hmm. So I think that's it. I don't know.
No, thank you for sharing. Pasquale Sarasoli has a chapter in the book Chiropractic Revealed. If you want to learn more about his philosophy on chiropractic, there's also a YouTube channel called Cell-F Center, awesome. Which is meant to be pronounced self-center, but it looks like cell, like cells of the body, -F. And I just want to thank you for touching on him, because he had such a beautiful way of communicating chiropractic, and it's such a gift that young students, even prospective students, can still connect with him to this day on YouTube. And we'll post some more information about that below. So Sura, thank you so much for giving of your heart and just shining a light for anyone out there who's really trying to better grasp what this opportunity of becoming a chiropractor really offers them, and the message. So the message is very clear. If you're listening to this right now, we're going to have Sura's information available, her practice in, where did you say, Brooklyn or Manhattan and Jersey?
Jersey City, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Love you, Ben. Thank you.
Absolutely.